I have a demo for you today. Uh, it's not great, but it's progress from my side. Let me show you. So this is a green screen composite with a camera that has a motion tracker on it, and I'm using the HTC Vive tracker, like one of these things right here, and I've got it attached to the front of the camera. I'll show you in a second. But I've got this composited into a screen, and it's definitely not going to make it onto prime time, or no one's gonna watch this movie yet, but it's progress for me. Now I'm gonna share what I did. I'm actually gonna try and recreate it kind of as a record, both to improve my understanding of it and in case someone else comes to the same spot. Just a word, you might notice the motion is a little off. There's a couple reasons for that. One of which is the damn motion tracker seems to like lose its position a lot, and I think that's because I have the base stations poorly positioned, and I'm using the 1.0 base stations, so you can only have two of them. I have ordered the 2.0 base stations as a kind of a test to see if that will improve things, but I don't have them yet. Anyway, when it's working, it's sort of lined up, which is a step forward from where I was yesterday. And there's a few tricks that you use to get this, and that's what I want to share right now. Just to go over it, I'm using Composure, and I'm using Live Link. So in previous videos, I had attached the motion controllers sort of directly to blueprints, but Live Link lets me do a couple interesting things. One of which is it works better with the next step that I may or may not show in this video, which is when you want to render things out to sequencer. I want to save this video, so sequencer is how I will do that. And Live Link, I found did it in a way that when you replayed it, it just worked. Like you could hit a take and you could hit replay, and it just worked. That's better than I had gotten doing it myself kind of manually. So let me just give you a quick view of what the setup looks like here. So I've got the green screen with a head on a pike. It's a head I ordered off Amazon that has a similar complexion to myself. And it's for, I think, like barbers to practice, or hairstylists to practice cutting hair. It was like $30, and it's been super useful. So I just put that on a tripod mount, and it has served me well. It's basically just me, so I can practice framing and lighting, and then I can even step into the scene afterwards. But anyway, I'm using this for the green screen composite. You can see on the right, it's kind of dark, but let me make it bigger. Let me embiggen this. So you can see that there's a camera going back and forth on a slider. I got that slider off Amazon as well. It was used. It was, I don't know, it wasn't that expensive. And I got this so that I could practice calibrating and framing and setting up camera motion with the green screen, just so it's sliding back and forth continuously. Otherwise, I would have to like set something up, go test it, and then like turn my head back to the computer to see if it was working or not. And this just works so much better. And you can see on the camera at the very top, there's a Vive tracker. It's the same as one of these Vive trackers, and it's just being fed into the program. So this is my setup, and let me scale this back down. So you can see that all is adding up to kind of the scene you're seeing here. Obviously, the motion tracking is a little janky, for lack of a better word, but one step at a time. So I'm going to try and recreate this from scratch in like a new level. In a new level, because I think that will be handy for both myself in the future and anyone else who comes across this. So let's close everything. Like let's be brave and just start like start completely from scratch. I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know what that is. Okay, so starting from scratch, I'm gonna launch Unreal Engine, create a new project. I'm using 4.26.1. And I don't know if this matters. I think I've been choosing film and TV, but I'll be honest, like let's just do a blank one in here. So I picked film and TV and then I'm just gonna click blank. I like to turn ray tracing on because that's why I spent money on video cards. And I'm just gonna call this stream demo. So create, and I guess I'll close this in the background. All right, we're here. Let me do a little tidying up. Okay, where to start? So we want to end up with a composite like we had before. I'm not going to break this down because I don't even know what order I'm going to do this in just yet. But let's start with like live linking the controller in front of me. Then we can worry about live linking the camera that's behind me. So I believe going to plugins, live link. So live link's on, but it's this live link XR that I need. Yes, and then restart. XR part is just what just makes this magically work. So perfect, we're gonna use it. Okay, close that and let's pull up live link. So I'm just gonna go here and add this live link XR source. If that doesn't show up, it's because you didn't add the plugin. And I'll just click everything and then click add. I'm sure those do something, but I don't know what they do yet. So up at the top, this is kind of like the plugin you add, and then down here is like everything discovered by that plugin. So later what we're going to have is a bunch of devices as we add more devices and populate them. In fact, that's the tracker. It didn't even see this. So I'm going to turn this on, and then I am genuinely maybe refresh all changes. I don't know how to get it to see this. If it wasn't there when it got created. Okay. I could just delete this and recreate it, but I want to see if there's a way to like to just see it again. Add virtual subject. No, that's not what I want. Okay, well what I'm going to do is just delete and try again. So now this controller's on. Okay, see there it added everything. Now if this turns off, it's fine. That green dot on the side will just go red, and when you turn it on, it will go green again. Okay, so our live link is here, and now you might say, well, what do I do? Let's attach this to a cube. So I'm going to bring a cube into the world, and I'm going to create a blueprint that's just an actor, and I'm going to call it VP for Virtual Production Live Link Controller. Open that up. And believe it or not, all I do is grab Live Link Controller as a component, go over here, and you can see it's got the two things that were added from Live Link. So whatever's under here, actually like here or here, shows up here. And the only other thing I do is, actually I'll show you first, and then, so just hit save, and then if I drag it into the scene, I'm pretty sure it's linked. See that? It's already linked. That was so easy. Now if I want something else to move other than this ball, what I will do is parent it in the scene. Oh, I gotta move, I gotta click this to movable. I was wondering what these orange dots are on these things, and I don't really understand static, movable, and stationary. It's for lighting, but I've been trying to use ray tracing as much as possible, and I think that doesn't use as much like baked in lighting. Anyway, here you go. So you can see it's kind of wonky. It's not like the center is that ball. So I can click this cube, and what I'm going to do is change the location to 0, 0, 0, and now it's over top of the ball. Now you might say, if you're a clever person, can you move this thing around? Can you move this around in the scene? Like can you move the base location? And it looks like the answer is no, but let's try and parent it to something that we can move. So I'm going to create this plane, and then I'm going to, so just to explain, what I want to do is I want to be able to like move this camera rig or this rig around. I'm going to put a camera on it eventually. I'm going to move this rig around to frame it up in the scene. And then wherever I move it, I want this to work. But I got to be able to move this like forward or back or closer to a virtual actor or a set. Now, what I did was I parented it to this plane, and I'm going to move this plane around, and I'm hoping it moves relative to the plane. But what you'll see is that does not happen. Aha. That is what this button is for. So if I go back into the controller blueprint that I created, where I bound it to this controller, down here under role configuration, and I honestly don't know what this does, but there's a world transform button. Set the transform of the component to world space of in its local reference frame. I uncheck this, and now it moves relative to whatever it's parented to. See that? This is exactly the behavior that I want, because I want to be able to move the camera around. Okay, that's sort of step one, but we actually don't want a cube. I want this to be the camera. I want to like look around with this as the camera. I'm going to take this cube and just delete it. What I'm going to do is go over here to cinematics, pull this Cinecamera actor over, and drop that under this under the live link controller. Then let me put it to 0, 0, 0. And now take a look. I have a camera and I can look around. There's not much in this scene, I will admit, so why don't we now go to add features or content pack. Content pack, I'm going to add starter content. That will give me a bunch of stuff that I can just dump in the project. Starter content, I usually go to props. I can just pull like, put the chair, put the bench, this. Oh, that's tiny. I'm not gonna put that. Put a rock. It's a huge rock. Put this thing's giant. Put this bush and table. Just the standard Unreal bedroom set. Move this around. Move this around. My Unreal navigation is still a little rough around the edges. Oh. Make this. Okay. Honestly, this is, is not the worst thing I've ever seen. So let's click on this camera again, and yeah. So the one thing that's different about using Live Link than using motion controllers and blueprints like in my other videos is this works in the editor mode, which is fascinating. You can turn it off. I forget how. So, here's my camera. This is one step at a time. Let's move this back a little. We're like right up in their business. So let me move this back to like there. And then, yeah, okay. Or maybe a little closer. All right, so that's not bad. That's not bad. All right. Okay, what is next, you might ask? Well, I think this is everything for this part. So the next part is going to be adding the green screen footage in. So this is one where you might need a plugin as well. There's Composure, and I think you need this lens distortion one as well, but honestly I haven't used it yet. That's like my next thing to figure out. Okay, so I don't have a like Blackmagic or AJA video card, the ones that they talk about for virtual production. I have a, like, I think I can unplug it. It probably won't break everything. I have this. One sec. I got this. $18 off Amazon. And it just takes HDMI in one side, USB, and it requires no drivers. Hopefully my computer is not like turned into a Bitcoining miner or anything like that. And I just plug that in and I have it coming straight off the HDMI on the camera. So how do I get that in here, you may ask? And what I've been doing is going to Media, and I think I just go to Media Player and check this because I want the two things it's going to generate. And I'm going to call this VP Media Player. And because I checked that box, it also gives me what I think is a texture. And they're like linked. So the texture draws its configuration from the media player, and then you can feed the texture into other stuff. So I'm going to open this, and if I go to video, I'm going to click on USB 3 capture, which is that cheap thing I just bought. There you go. There is a way to like have this media player auto start. What you do is you grab this URL and you go to the like on play event or the on create event or whatever event you want, and you on the media player you go like open URL. I'm not going to do that right now. What I'm just going to do is leave this running in a tab, and it works. So if I go over here, you can see that this is actually live updating. So okay, now what we're going to do is the Composure piece. The Composure piece is something I've just recently learned about, and it is far and away the best green screening that I've done so far in Unreal. So I just click on this Composure tab. If you don't have it there, I think it's right here, Composure Compositing, and you can drag it wherever you want. And it's blank. It's useless at first. So I go Create New Group, and I go Create Empty Shot. Now, if you were to go to the Unreal documentation, everything I'm about to do is right on there. I might explain it a little more. So I'm going to call this VP Composure. And what this also does, something to keep in mind, is if you go to World Outliner, everything you add in this Composure comp actually appears here as well. So what I'll do even is let's create a folder, Composure, and let's start putting everything in that folder. Okay, this is sort of like a, it's sort of layers, but it's not really. I don't know, just go with it is all I have to say. So this is going to be, this Composure represents the final video that we want in the viewer. And what we're going to do is add layers of different pieces that we want. And there's going to be 2 layers to start and eventually 3. So the 2 layers to start are just the obvious ones. Media plate is going to be that for this video we're capturing, and CG layer is going to be for the like virtual world. And then this VP Composure is what you use to sandwich them together. I don't actually think it matters which order you go. So I'm going to click Media Plate first. So you can see that's here. If I go back to here, Media Plate also showed up. I'm just going to slowly move everything in this Composure folder. Again, this is all in the tutorial, but I'm going to actually do it because for my reference and other people's reference. So I'm all in this Composure tab here, and then I actually just picked texture input because of the way I'm doing it. And I just picked the video, which is VP Media Player Texture, this thing that was created just over here. Click it, and already we're off to the races. That's great. But bonus, this comes with a, if you go to transform, this comes with a Chroma Keyer, like built in, and a despiller. So I just go in here and under key color, now I like to open this so I can actually drag the eyedropper directly onto the video for selecting the key color. If you drag it here, it does this weird, like, it makes it transparent and then it's not. Or that sort of worked. I guess that worked. Oops. You got to keep this open, remember? Otherwise, the video stream stops. So that's not bad. Just worry about the piece in the middle. Don't worry about the garbage on the side. You can see it's a little bit off. I'm going to make it bigger by clicking the P key to just like pop this open. And you can see it's not the greatest key here, so we should probably fix that. The other thing is there's this weird, like almost vignetting. I don't know if you can see it in the corners. Like, look at the corners. They're all weird. So the way I fixed this, and I have no idea why this works, is I just clicked on, like this is the material which is being used as the keyer, and there's actually more than one. So I just clicked on this one, and I believe I clicked a different keyer, like maybe, this one. I just picked this other keyer, and it solved the problem. So I'm not going to ask, I'm just going to go with it. The last thing I do is maybe go in here and tweak. I like to, the black clipping, you can mess around with it. And then the white clipping is something you can kind of mess around with too. And it's not the greatest key. I don't know if this is because it's my green screen sucks or what. I don't really know what these other ones might do. Let's play with them just quickly. I'll reset that. All right. Then despilling. Despilling is important because you can see there's like a green halo around the person. So what we want to do is, I think we despill it much the same way. So despilling takes the green color and like, I think it just makes it like kind of black and white, or I don't know how it works, but it basically takes that green halo around people and gets rid of it. Well, that's not bad, but the last one will also be useful, erode. And erode kind of like, if you, it like eats into the frame of the subject, and it like can make the I don't know the right word. You can kind of see what it's doing. So that's not a bad key. Sure, it could be better, I won't lie. But that's not bad to start. So that's going to be the real world subject that we're going to pull into this frame. Next, we're going to add another layer element, which will be a CG layer. And I just leave these names blank. And I think this just automatically pulled the camera because like there's only one camera in the scene. But if it didn't, I believe you go here and you can go override and then pick the camera. So either one works, but because this is motion controlled, it's going to work. So those two things are going to work together. Now there's a third one I'm going to add, which is it deals with, you see this crap on the sides? We're going to be able to get rid of that, but in what I think is an ingenious way. But we're just going to composite these together before it gets too complicated. So the way this step works was it was a little weird, but then it felt fine. You just come into this top piece, the actual composure piece. And if you'll notice, you go to transform passes, and then you just click, this default one, compositing element material pass. In the documentation, it's got some other name, but this is the one you want. And then you need a material. So what you're going to do is you create this material. So how do I create it? Here, create material. I'm just going to call it VP Composure Material. And then if I open this, this is going to get a reference to these other two things, and this is where you combine them. So if I grab, I think it's like a 2D parameter, this one, texture sample parameter 2D. And what I've heard you should do is name these the same as your layers, media plate 1, CG element 1. So let's call this media plate 1. Now, I'm not sure if it matches up the names or the order that you create these. CG element 1. Either way, let's just add those. And the simplest way is you just, they made some nodes for this. It's just called over. And you take the thing with the green screen. Whoops. Over. And you do the RGBA channel and you just go over. Now, where should this go? Great question. We can narrow down the possibilities by actually going to this material and refining what we're using it for. So this is actually a post process. And if we take that out, hey, look. The other thing I also do is unlit, but I don't think it matters. So this just goes into emissive color. We'll apply that. And I believe at this point, if we just click here, we've got our combined scene. So a few problems. Number one, the motion of this controller in no way matches up with the camera. We'll fix that. And if you notice on the fringes, there's like garbage, essentially. So I will come back in a sec and we'll keep going from there. All right, let's keep going. So number one, I want to improve this key a little bit. And what I'm going to do is press P to pop this open. And that will stay open even if I select something different, which is great. Because I can come into this key and mess around. Number one, let's just play with the key a little bit. Oh. I'm just having fun, seeing if anything improves it. Huh. It's like a really green. Well, that made it a little better. Maybe not that much. This is rough. This is tough. Okay. Red weight, pre-blur, blue weight, alpha threshold, alpha offset. I mean, you can kind of see here, my green screen is very DIY. It could use a lot of work. But this is okay. Let's say that this is okay. All right. Close that. Let's take a look at this composite again. So now what I want to do is I want to switch it from being this motion tracker, which has nothing to do with where the camera is, to the motion tracker that's actually on the camera. Let's go to live link to see if it's still reporting in. It indeed is. So let me see if I can just switch it here. Tracker. Compile. And all right. Well, I would say this is actually working. Like if you look look at this camera. It's kind of making the motion we expect, right? Like this motion here. They're they're a little off, but they're roughly the same. Now, like I said, the tracker seems to be having trouble with it, and I've got the 2.0 base stations coming, and there'll be 4 that I can set up probably in a much better way. But this is not bad. One thing though is it's facing the wrong direction. So let's, because it's actually pointed backwards to relative to where I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this plane 180 degrees. And then I'm also going to move it to frame the shot. Huh. I don't think my camera is pointing down that much. So what I may also do is take the camera itself. So the camera is inside the rotational body. And if I want to rotate it up, I think that's the y-axis. And then maybe it's... Now, this is probably where a lot of time and energy, like measuring and calibrating, will pay off big time. Let's move this rock to somewhere where the camera will see it, because it's such a nice rock. We want it to be in the camera. Let's click the camera again. Oh, it's not seeing it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's a nice rock. Maybe we should pull this back a little more. Yeah, there we go. There we got a nice motion on the scene. And if I just click on this, it's sort of working. Now watch what happens when it gets to the one side though. Watch the motion of the head relative to the background and which one moves first. So the head moves first by just a little bit, and then the background moves. So that means that the video and the motion controller are out of sync. Now watch again. That one's... So what you can do is go to Live Link, and if you click here, somewhere here, yeah, click on this offset. So I think I've been putting a positive number, and I measured it to about 0.2 seconds. So let's have a look. Like where it loses tracking is really frustrating. Okay, watch, see if they move at the same time. There's also jittering. I'm not sure how to deal with that. I'm hoping the new base stations take care of it. I'm going to call this good enough for right now, because the point of today isn't to actually tweak the motion. I just got this going. The last step we want to do, and this is the part that I find the most fascinating, is we want to get rid of this garbage on the side, because we want to be able to move the camera around. Now, I think it's so cool how you do this, but I'm not sure I'm even going to explain it well. So what we'll do is basically put a fake green screen into the world, which I'm going to use, and so we're going to I'll just put a plane in here, and I'm going to parent this plane to the rest of the camera infrastructure, because I want to be able to move everything and I'm going to call this, let's call it the green screen. Now let's rotate this, bring it up. And my green screen is about, I don't know, 2 meters by 2 meters? Let's just say it's about that. It's probably a bit higher, like 2.2 or 2.3, 2.4. oh, I've got my X and Y reversed. So 2 meters, 2.5, let's say. All right, that's not bad. And I'm going to make this green, but just so you know, it doesn't actually need to be green. Green screen. This is purely a visual aid. So if I go in here and I want a 4 vector or a 3 vector, I think I can just press 3. Yeah. And I'll just make this green. And let's put this into the base color. Save. Close that. And then I'm just going to drag this onto that material. So just so we're clear, this screen doesn't need to be green. We're not going to use anything to do with its color, but I'm just using it because it's cool. The next thing I want to do is, this camera has like a real world position. I want this green screen to be kind of approximately like where it would be in real life relative to this camera. And here, like if we click this, you can kind of see that it's supposed to be directly ahead. And I'm going to bring this a little closer. And it should probably still be pointing at it. So this is like coming out. I'm just eyeballing this right now. I did measure it before. And one way to actually check, let's pop this open, is, actually this is a great way to do it. I never thought of it. The green screen only needs to keep our subject in its field. So that's perfect right there, because, but you want it as tight as possible to the subject. And then looks like okay, I'm gonna pull it in on that side. Now, I don't know how to just pull one side of this in, so I think what I have to first do is shrink the Y to 1.5 and then move it left a little bit. Actually, this is a perfect way to do it. I can move it even a little more left. Now, you might say, why are we doing this? Well, the main reason will be apparent in a second. I just want to make sure this doesn't spill outside. Okay, perfect. I'm going to close this. So remember that problem of the garbage on the side? We're going to use this green screen as a garbage mat. So what we actually need to do is, I'm going to create a new layer element, CG mat. This is where the magic starts. I'm going to call this garbage. Just garbage. And then in here, it's type holdout. Holdout means it's kind of like, do you want a black and white mat or a white and black mat? Now, let's see. Okay. I can't, what I want to do is say, hold out this image, or this object. Like wherever you see that object, just paint black or white. But what I have to do is I have to set up a layer first. So I'm going to click this object and then go add selected actors to new layer, and then call this garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. And then in here, capture actors. And this is inclusive, so only capture the actors in inclusive. And what do you notice automatically is, instead of showing the image in the camera, it's showing black or white depending on whether it sees that object or not. So what we're going to do is multiply that with our green screen, and then we have a garbage mat. So if we go back into this composure element, and where's that? Here it is. This material we created, I'm going to go find it. Oh, it's right there. So if I open that, I can add another parameter, garbage. And, okay, what do I want to do? Oh, I was stressing about the math, but it turns out in the same way that there's an over, there's another convenience function called in. So I think you just drag those two together. Now I think it's like A is in B. Show that. And let's just look at this. Oh wait, we want to look at this final. So notice that, okay, the green screen is still there, that's a problem, but notice that on the sides, the stuff is gone because of this map. That's exactly what we wanted. The last thing we have to do is obviously not show the green screen. So if we go back to CG element, which is rendering our world, we do a capture actors again. But here, instead of going include, we go exclude, and then we add the same garbage mat. So now it's going to show everything but what was in the garbage mat. Now let's look at this final composure. And what is really cool to me about this is if you line up the green screen in real life with the green screen in your 3D world precisely, then you can just move the camera wherever you want, and it will always, the garbage mat will always work. I just think that's super cool. So obviously for next time, we have a couple issues. We have like the camera is jittery, or the tracking is jittery, it's failing. It kind of stutters, like it doesn't look great. Like maybe if you were doing a really still shot, or just a very simple kind of motion or something like that, like this. Well, actually this is a simple kind of motion. Obviously there's work to do, right? But I don't know, for where it was yesterday, to see this is amazing to me. The last bit we should talk about is sequencer and the take recorder. Maybe not. Okay, no, I'm going to talk about that another day. But anyway, that's, yeah, I'm just going to leave this up because other than the extremely jittery camera motion controller, which I'm hoping I can fix, I'm fairly happy with how this is going. All right, I hope this was useful. See you later.